What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. You guys already know what it is. It's draft season all year long, and today we are going to be doing a 7-round mock draft here for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, you Falcons fans did a great job of blowing up the video on my channel last time. It's one of the most viewed videos on the channel right now, so really appreciate you guys for that. And again, if you guys enjoy this mock draft, consider hitting the like button, consider hitting the subscribe button, sharing it. All of it really helps. So without further ado, let's get this thing started here for the Atlanta Falcons here, picking at number 8 in this year's draft. Let's take a look at the way that the draft is unfolding so far. Everything looks as it might in the draft, I guess. Yeah, looks reasonable. Sometimes these mock drafts can be very unreasonable at times. Okay, so picking here at number 8, we really want to address the edge rusher spot and the wide receiver spot. Aside from that, I feel like this team did a great job of addressing the needs in free agency and using their money wisely. So at this point, it's who do I value more, the top edge rusher on the board or the top wide receiver? And for me, I don't even have to think about it. I'm going to go with the top wide receiver here on the board, and that's going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba, okay? You guys can say whatever you want. Oh, you don't draft a slot receiver this high, yada, yada, yada. Look, if you watch college football, okay, and you've seen this guy play, you know that he will absolutely wreck an entire defense single-handedly. Okay, this guy put up 300 yards in the Rose Bowl. You don't do this type of stuff on accident. He understands how to get open, and he knows what to do with the football in his hands after he catches the ball. Just an absolute dominant X-factor wide receiver. And keep in mind now, the 1 year that he did play at Ohio State, in his sophomore year, he was the #1 receiver on that team, ahead of guys like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who have already solidified themselves as solid receivers in the NFL. 2,000-yard receivers, one with the Jets, one with the Saints. If that is not an indicator to what Jackson Smith-Njigba can do with his abilities, I don't know what else to tell you. This is a top 5 player in this year's draft. I feel very confident about him. And so that's nothing against Tyree Wilson. I feel like if they took him here, that would also be a really good player, right? A guy standing at about 6'7", 260 pounds, very versatile edge rusher. But the way that I see Jackson Smith-Njigba, this is a player that we're going to look back on this year's draft and wonder why he wasn't drafted even higher than he was drafted, wherever that may be, because I can't imagine he's going to go in the top 5 as I value him. So really, really, really excited to see him get paired up with Desmond Ridder right here, and it's just going to be so critical to the development of Desmond Ridder, right? You see so many quarterbacks in the league, young quarterbacks in the league, fail because they don't have that true #1 wide receiver helping them make their reads and their progressions, right, in their first 2 years, and then they kind of just slump after that, right? So it's so crucial for them to get that guy for Desmond Ridder in order to increase his chances of being a successful quarterback down the road. Okay, sitting here at 45, there are some really, really good corners, and you know, some of you guys might be like, wow, there's no way these guys make it to the second round. There's so much depth at the position, it's highly possible. Now, do the Falcons still consider doing this? You know, considering how much depth is at corner, right? You have A.J. Terrell at the 1, Casey Hayward at the 2. You also have Jeff Okudah, who you just traded for. Great value, just a 5th-round pick. You also have Mike Hughes, who is probably going to be a slot cornerback as well. So I just feel like there's so much depth at the position. I'm not sure if you address it this early in the draft, considering that we could also still use an edge rusher. So let's take a look at the edge rushers that are still on the board right here. I mean, for me, this would be an easy pick right here. We're going to go Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Don't feel as high. I feel like there's a significant gap between him and the other players. So although there are some really good corners that I like in the first round, this is also another edge rusher that I think I would feel comfortable taking here in the late first round. And we're sitting here in the middle of the second, so I'd be more than happy to take him here. So we go ahead and address our 2 biggest needs at wide receiver and edge rusher to start this draft off. And from here on out, we just go best player available and make sure we're addressing, you know, some of those depth positions as well. Those are all very, very important and crucial to all 3 phases and aspects of the team. So again, right here with these 2 players alone, I think we've won the draft, you know, just in terms of completing the plans and filling the needs that we need to fill. So I'm already happy with the way that this draft went. And again, this front office did a tremendous job of going out there and filling all the needs that they could, right? Getting quality players at a lot of the spots while leaving 2 spots that have a lot of depth in this year's class open, where they know that they're going to be able to address them in the draft. So very, very well done here by the Atlanta Falcons front office. Okay, Deonte Banks is one hell of a player right here, but we could also use a linebacker right now. We could also use a linebacker. I feel like, see, linebacker is one of those spots right now where you don't necessarily need it because you signed Caden Ellis. You also have Mykal Walker, but we could also upgrade. And there's potentially a guy in this year's draft that could compete and ultimately win the spot in training camp. So I don't think that that position is set in stone yet, especially with the draft still in place right here. What do we want to do here? See, so I feel like Jack Campbell is kind of more the sure thing, where he's going to be like your 3-down linebacker and is going to bring the energy for all 4 quarters. I think does a great job in coverage as well, just understanding how much depth he needs to get at his spot. Is also a leader on that Iowa defense. But then you got Trenton Simpson, right? And you're going to bank on his speed and his track down ability from his linebacker spot. So I think there are some questions about him in his coverage. But again, if you think that he can put it together with his athleticism, could be a really, really solid pickup for anyone who needs a linebacker at the current moment. So I don't think Deonte Banks is going to be here in round 3. So for realistic purposes in our mock draft, we're not going to take him. So I think at the linebacker spot, let's try and get the more exciting, explosive player. Let's go with Trenton Simpson right here. Again, like I said, the 2 guys that you currently have on the depth chart at linebacker already could be the starters, right? But it wouldn't hurt to bring in a younger guy, a more athletic guy, and potentially someone who could win the linebacker position in this offseason. So I think that that would be a very, very exciting pick there in round 3. And again, the benefit to what this year looks like for the Atlanta Falcons in the offseason, after these first 2 picks, it's best player available from there on out. So very, very good spot to be in right now if you're a Falcons fan. It's a young team. It's a promising team with a lot of potential. You're hoping that they can just bank on that potential. Okay. Sitting here, pick 111. I absolutely love Jordan Battle. Will he be here in round 3? It's possible, but there is so much depth at the safety spot, right? You just go out and sign Jesse Bates in free agency. You also invested a high pick in Richie Grant a few years ago. Jalen Hawkins is still on this roster, so I don't think there's another room for a safety, unfortunately. You know, I even like Sidney Brown, but I mean, looking at the top of the board, there are just so many safeties, even cornerbacks, which I don't think we necessarily need, but could take one here. Wide receiver as well. Keyshawn Boutte, I mean, first this dude wasn't going to enter the draft. Now he is. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand. Bro couldn't make up his mind. Okay. I think in terms of what the depth looks like on this roster, I think a cornerback would make more of an impact on this roster right now than a safety would. So we're going to go with a cornerback here. We're going to go with Eli Ricks out of Alabama. I think he does a great job of just reacting to the football and man coverage. And again, as many of these Alabama secondary players are just very good instinctually, I think they all understand their role that they're playing on their defense, allowing them to make so many plays and allowing them to bring so many of these guys in the secondary into the NFL. I mean, how many safeties and corners can we name from Bama? You know, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know, maybe we could take another one here, but I kind of ruled that out already. See, honestly, in my opinion, it wouldn't hurt to bring in another wide receiver here, because there's not a lot of talent and there's not a lot of depth at the spot either, right? I mean, it's a 4th round pick. If this guy pans out, that is fantastic. Okay, what do we want to do here? Not a huge fan of Keyshawn Boutte. Just not. We're going to go with Michael Wilson here out of Stanford. Haven't really, actually, I'm not sure that I've drafted him in any of the mock drafts that I've done so far. So, you know, that's a little bit of a change of pace here. But like I said, right, I think after Drake London on the roster right now, is it like Scotty Miller and Kadero Hodge? I'm not even certain of that. Either way, those guys shouldn't be starting in the league. So we definitely need to get some quality wide receivers in this draft. And I think we've done a great job so far of addressing that spot right now. So we're sitting here in the 5th round. How many more picks do we have? We have 3 more picks in this year's draft. Again, if you guys are enjoying this video, consider hitting that subscribe button. We are on the road to 600 subscribers, and we are almost nearing draft day. So getting really, really exciting. Don't know why I repeated 2 of the words in that sentence there. Maybe I'm just that excited. I don't know. Okay. What do we want to do here? Ooh, maybe picking up a running back wouldn't be bad. We could get some more youth at that position. So we'll take a look at the running backs here. My favorite guy on this list, Tajay Spears. We'll go with him there at 161. I think that's tremendous value. If you watch Tulane play this year, he's a huge reason why they took a huge jump. I used huge twice. Again, I'm just repeating myself. I guess I'm just very excited about this draft, and I'm really excited about this prospect in Tajay Spears. This dude knows how to run the football. He's a physical runner. He's a quick runner. He's a patient runner. He's a complete running back is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of traits to like about him. And coming from a small school, and we saw, ran all over that USC defense in their bowl game, which ultimately led to them winning the game. So it's a very high impact player that you're getting with Tajay Spears here. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him. I don't think he's projected to go super high, but he's a player that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on, even after the draft is done, just to see the way that his career progresses. And in terms for the Atlanta Falcons, right, Cordero Patterson's getting kind of old. You don't want Tyler Algier to be your workhorse running back one. So let's, not make him suffer and bring in another running back to join in the group. Okay, here we go. Let's keep the Georgia guy here. Let's keep Robert Beal Jr. to address another one of our edge spots. I don't think would be a starter, but I think could be a, contributing depth piece, I guess, in special teams. And then we'll go Moro Ojomo here. Although listed as an edge, would be playing that 3-tech on that defensive line. So kind of the same role that Calais Campbell and Grady Jarrett will be playing this year. You are a 3-4 scheme, so your outside linebackers are going to be your real edge guys, which is where like Anyudike Uzama would be playing in this case. But Moro Ojomo, being a bigger guy and primarily a 2-down run stopper, will be playing on the inside. So I'm really happy with the way that this draft went. I think we got some good depth pieces in the later round. But again, 2 high-impact players, day 1 starters on this team in Jackson Smith and Jigba at pick number 8, and then you go pick in the second round, pick number 45, Felix Anyudike Uzama. Pair him up with Arnold Ebiketie. You have a young and very, very high ceiling group of edge rushers right there. Trenton Simpson, again, you're banking on that sideline to sideline track down pursuit. Very, very talented and athletic player out of Clemson there in the 3rd round. Eli Ricks adds to the depth. Michael Wilson adds to depth. Again, a lot of these guys are just depth pieces that could, battle in the offseason for some starting roles, but will be high contributing players in special teams nonetheless. So let me know what you guys think about this mock draft in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, again, consider subscribing. We are on the road to 600 subscribers. And until then, I will see you guys all later.